Whether you're tight on time or simply want to treat yourself, everyone loves a good takeout. But how would you react after learning that your favorite local Chinese restaurant had a body hidden in the walls? For many residents across North Canton, Ohio, this horrific prospect became a disturbing reality. However, this would only happen after the local community poured all their efforts into finding the victim first. And the recorded events which followed revealed the callous actions of two heartless so-called parents. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime. Today we're looking at the disturbing case of Ashley Zhao. As you will likely also see in the next few videos, we have a lot of footage to go through in this one, so please watch carefully and tell me what you think about Ashley's parents at the end. By the way, I post true crime and strange cases here weekly, so if that does sound like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to the channel, it really does help me out. And another small side note, but over the next 2 weeks, I'll be giving away 2 brand new coffee machines. So hang out to the end of the video to see how you could win. And now, with that said, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Ashley Zhao. Welcome back to the Buckeye State, folks, and let me tell you, history runs deep within these borders. Originally inhabited by nomadic people as early as 13,000 BC, the land was also home to the Iroquoian, Algonquin, and Siouan peoples. In more recent times, the state is home to more than 23,000 Amish citizens, rendering the state of Ohio as having the second largest Amish population after Pennsylvania. Reportedly, Ohio's natural beauty is next level, and if you fancy some exploration, you'll be thrilled to visit Hocking Hills. Perhaps an understatement, but this region offers several trails with views that are absolutely to die for. Dotted throughout its national forests and wildlife areas, you'll find the state's iconic cities, including Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. And let's not forget about Lake Erie, found to the north. According to the International Monetary Fund, the economy of Ohio is considered the 21st largest global economy in the world, behind that of Saudi Arabia and ahead of Argentina. And this is thanks to a $620 billion GDP in 2021 alone. As you can likely guess, its economy is driven by lucrative industries such as bioscience, education, next-generation energy, aerospace, and much more. 12 million people call this state home, all in various careers and from various walks of life. And found in Jackson Township of Stark County lived the young family of 4, the Zhaos. Lang Zhao and Ming Chen were a Chinese couple living in the quiet town of Jackson Township. The couple were trying to make an earnest living for themselves, with aspirations of settling in the formidable country of America. Although Lang Zhao was a naturalized citizen of the US, with his visa having been approved many years prior, things were not so clear for Ming Chen. While she was still a teenager, she had illegally moved from China to the US in search for a better life. And although she had no real right to live there, she felt she would experience a better living standard. Eventually, in the year 2009, Ming applied for asylum in the United States because apparently she was being persecuted by the Chinese government for following Falun Gong. Now, this is actually quite an interesting fact, but Falun Gong is a meditation practice that has been outlawed by the Chinese government. Although it may look like normal meditation, it is technically classed as a spiritual discipline, which state officials banned in 1999 after calling it an evil cult. Falun Gong means the law of will practice in Chinese, and is a set of meditation exercises and texts that preach the virtues of truth, kindness, and self-control. Falun Gong avows a path to salvation for the faithful. Adherents would try to gain enlightenment by reading the works of Master Li, who was said to be able to walk through walls and levitate. The faith became so popular that, by the late 1990s, millions of Chinese citizens from various backgrounds had taken it up, which, of course, is something that the government wasn't exactly thrilled about. Anyway, it's not completely clear why Ming sought asylum over this. I mean, perhaps it was a ruse to claim residency in America. Or maybe she genuinely did fear the consequences of remaining in her home country. After being in a relationship with Lang Zhao for a while, the couple eventually married. And a couple of years later, they'd brought 2 daughters into the world, Jojo and, a year afterwards, her younger sister Ashley. Taking the central role in this case today, Ashley was born on December 30th, 2011, and as of January 2017, she was 5 years old. She had black shoulder-length hair and had a delightfully cute button nose. However, unfortunately, it became obvious that her birth was too much strain for her parents to handle. At the time, Liang and Mingming were the owners of an Asian restaurant in North Canton. The work was very demanding, and keeping the business afloat appeared to be extremely challenging. Now, the menu included all the good food typically found in any decent Chinese restaurant. Things like chicken chow mein, kung po chicken, and boneless spare ribs. And now, all of a sudden, I'm hungry. The reviews were decent back in the day too. Their dishes were considered to be fresh, the delivery time seemed to be fast, and the workers were often complimented for being very pleasant to their customers. Locals had even become casual friends with the pair too. They often shared jokes and conversations while waiting for their food, and even spoke to their daughters. Honestly, it is such a waste of potential that all of this would change. Behind closed doors, the Zhao family were struggling. Their business was a full-time job, and they refused to make time for their daughters. This led to Ashley moving in with her grandparents in New York, allowing Liang and Mingming to focus on work and their older daughter, Jojo. She would eventually move back in with her parents in October 2015, though apparently she'd learned a few bad habits along the way, and wouldn't listen to her mother and father. Mingming was overwhelmed with work and was becoming increasingly frustrated with her younger daughter, and to add to this were concerning reports that her husband was becoming abusive. However, comparing that to what was about to happen was only the tip of the iceberg, because on January the 9th, 2017, the Zhao family would be ripped apart forever. It was on this day that Liang phoned 911 with some very concerning news. He claimed that while he and his wife were busily working, Ashley had awoken from a nap and walked out the restaurant's back door, only to disappear and never return.
Jackson Township Police.
Hi, yes, I need some help.
Okay, where are you at?
4924 Portage Street.
Hey, what's going on?
I can't find my daughter.
Okay, how old is she?
5. She just turned 5.
Okay, and you're at Ames?
Thanks, yeah.
When's the last time you seen her?
This afternoon, probably.
Around what time?
3, maybe 4.
So you haven't seen her in 5 hours?
You saw her in 5?
What was she wearing?
She's wearing a purple winter coat. I don't know what those things are called, but they're not jeans. They're like,
Like leggings?
Yeah.
Okay, and you haven't seen her in 5 hours?
About, yeah. I mean, she was there sleeping. I mean, you know.
Where was she sleeping at? In the restaurant?
Yeah. She was sleeping there, and I picked up my older daughter from school. We all saw her sleeping there. So, and, you know, we went to work, and, you know, we let her sleep. We got busy, and then, after it got busy, you know, we started cleaning up, and then, you know, we opened the door, and she's not here.
Okay, sir, what's your name?
Liang Zhao.
Okay, do you have any videos or anything in there where you can see a video, see if she was laying there?
No. We don't have any security camera in the restaurant. We've been here for 6 years. We never had security cameras here. We saw her, like all of us, like my wife, myself, and my older daughter.
Okay, and so was there any suspicious people that came in at all? Do you think she could have woke up and ran out somewhere?
I have no idea. I mean, she was sleeping in the back.
None of your employees had seen her?
There's only 2 of us, just myself and my wife. There's nobody else in the restaurant. But when we came back, she's here. Like, my wife is here. The restaurant's open. The restaurant's always open.
When you left, you said you, your wife, and your daughter left to go pick up your daughter from school?
No, I didn't say that. I said my wife is here all the time.
Okay, and your wife hasn't seen her either since around 4 or 5 o'clock?
When I meant was myself, okay? When I went to pick up my daughter, when we came back, myself and my daughter, not my wife. My wife was here the whole time.
That's right. What's your daughter's name?
Ashley.
Okay. All right, my officer's outside if you want to go and meet my officer at the door, okay?
He's here right now?
Yeah, he's already outside.
In the front or the back?
He should be in the front.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Calling in at 9 p.m, Liang claimed that he had last seen her around 5 p.m, after picking up her older sister from school. All 3 of them, including Jojo, saw her that evening, but after the dinner time rush, she was nowhere to be found. Ashley's disappearance triggered a sense of urgency throughout the local community. One of their own had gone missing, notably such a young child, and this would spark a statewide search for her. Police combed the nearby area looking for her. Locals peered through the lakes and parks, and nearby woodlands were scoured. But sadly, much to the dismay of everyone, Ohio's wintry wilderness didn't reveal anything to them.
Breaking news, a community shaken as police in Jackson Township search for this little girl, 5-year-old Ashley Zhao. The child last seen at about 5 o'clock last night at her family's Chinese restaurant.
So it's safe to say this massive search is being taken very seriously today. Several agencies searching for little Ashley Zhao.
Her picture on nearly every window. That little face on everyone's mind. People who know her told me Ashley Zhao is not your typical 5-year-old.
A lot of 5-year-olds are shy.
Calling her very social for such a little girl.
She was just very friendly.
She's very vocal. She's not afraid to talk to you.
Douglas Panzarello works across the street. He goes to Ang's Chinese cuisine all the time.
When I leave work today, I am going to drive around the back. I'm going to do my own little search.
According to police, Zhao was last seen around 5 last night when she went to take a nap in the back room of her family's restaurant. When her mother went to check on her around 9, Ashley was gone. She was wearing a purple coat and gray leggings. Extended families searched the lot behind the restaurant today. They're not the only ones looking. Jackson Township police continue to investigate, joined by nearby police and sheriff's departments. Many meeting nearby to search the area.
In the meantime, investigating officers turned their heads towards the restaurant. After all, if Ashley had been abducted, then perhaps some clues had been left behind in her absence. Officers could think of multiple areas of interest. This included the back door Ashley had slipped out of, the area immediately surrounding the back door, and any surveillance cameras that may have captured her or her abductor leaving. However, upon searching the area, they would horrifyingly find something much, much worse. As expected with all restaurants, the family had a sizable fridge and freezer in the kitchen. Able to accommodate multiple days of stock, this one was big enough to walk in. And peering at the side of this fridge freezer, investigators noticed a small opening in the restaurant's wall. A dark void stared back at the officers. Although it was fully closed off, they decided to pull the appliances to the side and have a look at what may be within. Their pulses began to quicken. Considering it was large enough for a child to fit into, they may have been onto something. And sadly, they were correct. Tucked into the wall, they found a salt container, and after opening the lid, the officers were met with the greatest fear. Inside lay the lifeless body of Ashley Zhao. The young child had never disappeared from the restaurant. The heartbreaking reality was that she had remained here with her parents all this time. As you can likely guess, this was the worst case scenario that authorities could have envisioned, and it begged many new questions. Since the two had been requested to stay away from the restaurant while the search was being conducted, both Liang and Mingming had no idea that Ashley's body had been found. However, all of this would change very, very quickly, and only 40 minutes later, both of them had been arrested, where interrogations would begin separately. Now, I don't need to tell you this, but there is something very interesting about watching criminals break under pressure, and these two were no different. First up was Liang Zhao, who was interviewed for almost an entire hour. During this time, his web of lies slowly unraveled, until eventually the man finally cracked.
What happened yesterday morning?
Okay, yesterday morning, we got up, we prepped JoJo for school. I took JoJo to school. I came back. When I came back, my wife was very angry at Ashley because she peed on her diaper and she pooped on her diaper. I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, but she's 5 years old and she's not potty trained, like, ever. And I'll explain that a little later. So, when you're 5 years old, you still don't know how to poop and potty. And my wife got angry and hit her head on the carpet, 2 times. And initially she was breathing. She was still breathing then. And
Did you watch? Did you see your wife do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was home at that time.
What time was it about?
Usually after I drop off at 9-ish. I can't say approximately because I don't look at a time. My wife is banging Ashley sat on a carpet. It was 9:15. 9:15, I guess.
So, right then she wasn't breathing?
No, she was breathing. She was breathing, and...
was there any blood or anything?
No, there's no blood.
Was she walking? I mean,
no, she wasn't walking. She was breathing, but she was lying down because she was gasping, like it was. I can't really remember or recall exactly what, but it was a lot heavier than normal. And then a little later, I went to hold her and just didn't feel right. And I checked her heart. It stopped beating. So I started panicking, and I tried to do CPR on her, try to breathe. And that's when we realized she's gone.
Liang was very direct and unemotional during his interrogation, and very soon came clean about what exactly happened to Ashley. He claimed that, while still at home, Ming had become angry at Ashley for her lack of potty training. This resulted in her snapping at Ashley in a fit of rage, striking the child with a punch to the face. Ashley's head struck the floor, where she was still breathing but had been rendered unconscious. Her father, Liang, had witnessed the entire thing, but rather than immediately dial 911 for medical assistance, he tried to deal with it himself. After trying to bring her around, Ashley would tragically pass away several minutes later, and in the mortifying wake of her death, Liang and Ming were faced with what on earth to do next.
So what happened?
We talked about it. And
Talked about what?
she said that, we're both afraid. We're both afraid what's going to happen if we call.
Okay.
I wanted to send her away so that, I'll be there. If someone gets in trouble, it'll be me, and she'll be okay. And I kind of wish it didn't happen this way. Now both of us are in really big trouble. We couldn't decide what to do, and after a while we decided, both of us, I don't know exactly who came up with what, but we should bring her to the restaurant so JoJo can see her. So JoJo, when you guys ask her, I was thinking maybe that wasn't a good idea, but I wasn't thinking clearly at the time. So, bring her to the restaurant so JoJo can see her, so that when we call, JoJo can say, oh, she was here at the restaurant and she left the back door at the restaurant instead of, at the house. She accidentally got killed. So,
Where were you gonna put her at the restaurant so JoJo could see her?
And, at the room that she was normally in, she sleeps in there. So, JoJo will see that she's sleeping there and can verify it, and she's sick. So, and even if you ask her to take a polygraph, I don't know if you ask a 6-year-old to take a polygraph, but a 6-year-old wouldn't lie like that. And so we didn't want JoJo to lie, so we want JoJo to see Ashley there. Okay.
Worried about losing everything they had worked for, the two decided not to inform the authorities, and instead, they elected to make her death look like an abduction or an accident. Liang told investigators that they'd put her body in the car, drove her body to the restaurant, and then placed her in her bed so her sister could think she was sleeping. They kept her in this bed upstairs for several hours. They lied to their 6-year-old daughter about her sister being asleep, when the reality was far from this. All of this was very carefully planned. It was to make their last remaining daughter an alibi, to be a witness that could verify that Ashley was still alive in the evening, and therefore validate the credibility of her disappearance.
The plan was for JoJo to come home and see her there to verify that she's there, and then I would hide her up on top of the walk-in freezer. And then when we called the police at night, JoJo could verify that she was there. Now that JoJo, she's not a liar, but she's 6. And when you lean her towards something, that's where she goes. And she's not a liar. She doesn't lie to people, but she is 6. When you point her at a direction, that's where she's gonna go. And then I moved her, to the walk-in freezer. Put her in that plastic container so that she wouldn't stink.
What kind of container was it?
That was plastic, those
busting containers for like restaurants, and that's when we were gonna call the police, and we were hoping that the police would come here, look, and I said, we didn't expect this. We didn't know the procedure exactly what's going on. We didn't know that I was gonna come down here, take a polygraph. I was gonna be asked so much questions. There was gonna be so many people involved. If we knew that there was gonna be like 100 people searching for, maybe even more, I don't even know. I am so sorry.
During questioning, Liang confessed that he then hid Ashley's body in a salt container near the walk-in freezer, where they stored the restaurant's stock and carried on about their working day. Horrifyingly, the couple carried on cooking food and serving customers, while their daughter's lifeless corpse was right next to them. And when asked what he planned to do with the body next, Liang answered, burn it, bury it, or throw it in the ocean.
What were your plans to do after maybe we quit looking for her? What were you going to do?
We don't really know. There was three things. I'd burn it, bury it, or throw it in the ocean. Those are the only three things that we can think of. And we know that. I think that's probably one of the reasons. Other than the fact that there's so many reasons why I told Randy what I told Randy. But one of the reasons is Randy mentioned it, and I know, without him telling me, I know is if let's say that I went through with this and I didn't get caught, I'm going to be looking over my shoulder for I don't know how long. It's because there's a dead body there. Honestly, we weren't really too sure on what to do after that.
Throughout his interrogation, it remained clear that Liang was emotionless and lacked any compassion over the death of his own daughter. He often referred to her as it, and spent most of his time expressing his fear of getting caught instead of expressing any kind of remorse. I'm going to let this interrogation tape run for a while longer, leaving in some of the key moments that I believe are most pertinent to this case.
I was praying constantly. My wife, she was just praying that this would get resolved and our family can stay together. My wife, she's not a bad person. She's not. I married her. I wouldn't marry her if she was physically abusive in the beginning. My wife is a good person. I know it's very hard to believe, seeing Ashley, but look at JoJo. She's a good person. We knew that something like this would happen eventually if Ashley wasn't sent away, but we couldn't send her my mom because my mom will raise her like this again. I was just hoping that, it wouldn't come to this before we sent her away.
Why didn't you raise Ashley yourself?
I was running a restaurant. Couldn't really take care of everything, so I naturally could trust my mom.
When did the abuse start with your wife and Ashley?
About a little bit after a month after she arrived. In the beginning, it was not that bad. And the thing with Ashley was that she still doesn't know to potty in the bathroom. So that really gets my wife going because we have her for a year now. She still can't. She's still not potty trained.
Getting back to the last night, you guys actually cooked and served meals while your daughter was laying there.
Yes.
And went on business as usual.
Yes.
Moving on to Ming Ming's interrogation, the footage publicly available is much more limited when compared to Liang Zhao. Unfortunately, though, Ming Ming's cold and matter-of-fact demeanour painted the picture of an emotionless mother. Now, it is important to highlight that people respond to shock in various and different ways. And Ming Ming's cold-hearted attitude may be a direct consequence of the internal grief she was experiencing. However, I would argue that, just as likely in this case, she is simply a stone-cold monster. She began her interview by explaining the reasons why she hit her daughter, as if they were some sort of sick means to justify what she was doing. To add to this, she further tried to explain that she was a victim to her own husband's parents.
Love her, but Ashley just doesn't like normal girls, normal kids. She do everything bad. After that, his mother fight to my husband. Say a lot of bad words. Do you know why? Because she want to leave. She doesn't want to stay with us. I tell you all the truth, sir.
I know you did.
Their parents told us everything. It's nothing. Do you know why now we have a restaurant, we have house? It's all from me and my husband.
Right.
No one else.
Right. You worked hard, I know.
And when Ashley almost 4, not 4, like 3 maybe,
Sure.
his parents want to take Ashley to China. And their team here made a passport. Do you know what did she say? She said a lot of bad words. Do you know why they say that? Because they doesn't like me. Because I don't have green card. I don't have green card. It wasn't my fault. That's okay. Because I love my husband. I don't care about that. And we done the passport. Ashley go to China, and I talked to my husband. Say when Ashley come back, we bring Ashley back here because Ashley almost 4. Jojo 5. They're not together like 4 years. They're not close together, not too close. And we want her back here soon. I need to take care of everything from the restaurant. I only have 2 hands. I'm not 4 hands girl. I'm 2 hands. I don't want to do that to Ashley, but you can control yourself sometimes.
However, as the questioning became more direct, eerily so did her answers.
What happened to Ashley? How did she die?
I'll kill her.
You killed her?
Yeah.
How did you kill her?
I will just kill her.
Maybe. Was it an accident? What happened?
I killed her.
I know that you're not crying. You said I don't have nothing left. Isn't that what you told me? You don't have no tears left. You don't have nothing left. Ming Ming, your daughter's dead. What happened? How did she die?
Just kill her, and then she died.
Did you hit her?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you hit her?
How?
Yeah. What
Use
happened?
hand to do that.
Okay.
I told my husband to take care of it.
Okay. So you're telling me that you told your husband?
I told my husband to take care of it.
Ming Ming further confessed that she had in fact beaten her daughter to death in a fit of rage after getting angry that she had not yet been potty trained. Maybe if she was actually there in the early years of her life and spent time with her daughter, then her concerns could be more justified. But the cold fact is that she wasn't, and instead shipped Ashley away to her grandparents. She put work before her own children, and then got mad at them when they didn't behave the way she wanted. She went on to confess that she asked her husband to take care of it, and again, this is her talking about the death of her own daughter, callously referring to her as it. Both Liang's and Ming Ming's confessions, combined with the discovery of Ashley's body and the evidence found at the restaurant, were a slam dunk for investigating officers and, eventually, prosecutors too. On January 11th, 2017, 2 days after the death of their daughter, both Lang Zhao and Ming Ming Chen were arrested over suspected homicide. They appeared at the Massillon Municipal Court, where their bonds were set at $5 million each. Their bonds were extortionately high due to the judge believing that they posed a serious flight risk back to China. Moving into the legal proceedings of this case, both parents would face different circumstances, be offered different plea deals, and receive different sentences. Beginning with Ming Ming Chen, she pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity after being charged with murder. However, Stark County prosecutors offered to lessen it to involuntary manslaughter as part of a plea deal. Authorities highlighted that she had repeatedly hit Ashley, Ashley, and autopsy reports concluded that these assaults had caused a fatal brain injury, which rendered her daughter unconscious and eventually led to her death. County Prosecutor John Ferrero claimed that the evidence and interviews provided proved that, although she was cold about her actions, Ming Ming did not plan or intend to kill her daughter. He further said it was a tragedy committed in a fit of anger by a mother who had never bonded with her child. Her defense attorney argued that the stress of running the family's restaurant, which was practically a 24/7 operation, while simultaneously playing the role of mother and wife, led to violence in the home. To quote his closing statement, "The unfortunate byproduct of that violence was the death of Chen's 5-year-old daughter, Ashley Zhao. She is very saddened by the loss of her child and asks for everybody's forgiveness." Playing devil's advocate, court documents which were made open to the public accused Ming Ming and Liang of abusing her on multiple occasions. These dates are from the time she moved back from New York in October 2015 through to the time of her death in January 2017. These documents also claimed that Ashley suffered from blows to the head and torso. After retracting her plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, Ming Ming ultimately pleaded guilty to evidence tampering, corpse abuse, child endangerment, and obstructing justice. And finally, on December 29th, 2017, she was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Moving over to Liang Zhao, his case would be slightly different. Now, both partners were mutually clear and synonymous with the details surrounding their daughter's death, so it was never disputed whether he himself had murdered Ashley or not. Although he did try to revive his daughter, he became almost as guilty as his wife when he decided to help hide the body and feign ignorance. On September 11th, 2017, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of child endangerment, corpse abuse, obstruction of justice, and tampering with evidence. Liang was also offered to have his murder charges dropped if he testified against his wife. And interestingly, although he always insisted that he was innocent, he agreed to take the deal. On January 10th, 2018, Liang Zhao was sentenced to 12 years in prison. This meaning he will be released roughly 10 years before his wife. So, a couple areas of interest for me, I guess, but where exactly does this leave the relationship between Liang and Ming Ming? Is it even worth thinking that this is perhaps salvageable? One thing I did find out, but because Ming Ming was in the US illegally at the time of Ashley's death, it does mean that once she's released from prison, she'll be deported back to China. Being honest with you, I still can't believe they referred to Ashley as it, and even after their terrible actions. It kind of subtly highlights how little they cared about their own daughter. What I saw in this case were 2 parents who were desperately hell-bent on running their own business, and with their intentions firmly set on the restaurant, they were unable to focus, support, or even love their own daughters, who were patiently waiting by their side. Ashley was a very young child at the time of her death. She was yet to develop into her own unique person, yet to experience life, and yet to experience the world to the fullest. Devoid of nurture or love from her parents from day one, she was even shipped off to her grandparents only to return and suffer from neglect. Ashley did nothing to deserve the punishments and ultimately death she received. Toilet training can be a challenge for millions of children around the world, and all that was needed to help her learn was the patient support of her parents. But instead, she received a punch to the face. But it's almost unimaginable for a parent to show this level of apathy towards their own. Perhaps it was simply the sheer lack of time either of them ever spent with their daughter. Or maybe there was something more psychologically wrong at play in this situation. However, none of this will ever be any kind of excuse for the terrible actions of Liang and Ming Ming. So folks, I think I'm going to wrap this one up here today. Thank you so much for being here for another video today by Coffeehouse Crime. You have no idea how much I really appreciate you being here with me. So, what do you think about this case today? Do you think this was actually an accident, or do you think something more sinister was at play? And do you think that Liang and Ming Ming got enough time behind bars? So, as mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm giving away 2 free coffee machines by my favourite brand, Breville. The Bambino Plus is an incredible coffee machine that delivers specialty coffee from the comfort of your own home. It even comes with an automatic steam wand, a razor, a tamper, and a milk jug. I'm giving away 1 each on my Twitter and my Instagram. Just simply follow me and read the rules to enter. I'll leave more information in the comments section down below and on my social media profiles. profiles. Also, please feel free to take a look at my Patreon if you'd like to get exclusive content and early access. Anyway folks, I think that just about does it today. Thank you so much again for watching, and as always, I'll be back again very soon for another video. Until I see you again though, remember to look after yourself, look after each other, and of course, stay safe. Thank you, and goodbye.